Hello everyone, today is 2nd of February. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Guys, into the today's newspaper discussion, we will be majorly be discussing the budget highlights and the key reforms that had come. Now guys, we will be discussing all of them into a highly analytical manner. So please utilize the items into the respective GS papers, either 2 or 3. Now, first of all, taking up the GS folder for today. So today we will be taking a quote from Ravindranath Tagore's Fireflies, which has even been quoted into the opening statement of the budget of 2021 by the finance minister. She has quoted that faith is the bird that feels the light when the dawn is still dark. Now, guys, the faith has been an instrumental aspect of the humanity which basically pushes us to do the things even when the results as well as the success is not in sight. Now, guys, we can utilize this particular quote into our GS paper number 4 as well as into the essays. So guys, that is all, and now let's take the newspaper analysis. Now, guys, when we talk about the budget, so budget comes from the French word budget, which means a brown bag or a brown color case. Now, guys, since the early times, as the documents with respect to the receipts and expenditure of the state in coming year as well as into the preceding year, they are being presented into this particular brown color case. This entire exercise is being called as the budget. Now, guys, when we talk about the budget of India, there is nowhere the word budget has been mentioned into the Constitution of India. Rather, there is article number 112, which uses the word annual financial statement. And guys, it is provided that the cause of the annual financial statement into the parliament every year will be the president. Now, if we actually see, then guys, the budget is presented by the finance minister along with the budget speech. So basically, finance minister is doing this exercise onto the behalf of the president of India. Now, guys, when the finance minister comes out with the budget, they outline the entire spirit of the expenditure that the government is going to make as well as the expectation of the receipts that is going to happen. Moreover, along with these estimates, these digits, the budget is also a kind of a framework of the economic direction that the government is or the country is going to take into the next year. Now, guys, whenever you will be seeing any budget, there will be the three type of datas which will be present into the budget. Number one are the budgetary estimates for the upcoming year. It is simply the expectation that the government is having that okay, the XYZ rupees they will be receiving via the different sources, and the ABC rupees they will be spending onto the different things. So these are the estimates for the upcoming year. Then guys, there is the provisional data. So see, what is a provisional data? You just take it into this way that last year also the government came out with the budget. So last year's budget was a 2020-2021 budget. Into that budget also government announced some kind of an estimates that okay, these are our expectations with respect to the expenditure as well as with respect to the receipts. Now guys, approximately 10 months have been completed since the start of the last budget, and guys, we had got a pretty much clear picture that okay, what has been actual receipts as well as actual expenditures. So the last year's budgetary estimates will be revised a little bit into the picture of the data which we have got. So the provisional data will be containing the data of the last year, and here we will make a kind of a divergence that okay, this was our expectation but this is the reality. Then comes the actual data. So guys, you can see that today we are here. The 10 months have been completed since the start of the last budget. Now see, still there are 2 months for which we are not having the complete picture. But if you go 1 year more back, then guys, the 2019-2020 budget, for that we are having an entire complete picture that okay, how much actual money we received, how much actually we spent for the entire year. So there is actual data with respect to 1 year back of budget. So guys, every budget contains how much figures, three type of figures, that is the actual data of the preceding year, fine, the provisional data for the current year, and the budgetary estimates for the upcoming year. So guys, this is a kind of a thing, please keep it into your mind. And now let's take the key highlights. Now guys, first of all, the most basic thing, let's see an overview over the government's finances. So basically, these are the areas from which government will be making the receipts, and these are the areas where the government's expenditure will be going to happen. Now guys, when we talk about the government receivings, then you can see that the borrowings and the other liabilities are the major proportion by which government will be raising the money. Now guys, what this particular thing means, see, you might be knowing that this particular year is an abnormal year, the year of the pandemic pandemic of COVID-19. And because of that particular thing, government has received less and less of the money because of the lockdown and all such kind of things. And at the same time, the government's expenditure was more. Because of that, we have incurred an abnormally high fiscal deficit. And guys, whenever the fiscal deficit is high, that deficit is to be plugged by borrowing more and more money from the market. So here you can see that out of 1 rupee, 36 paisa we are borrowing. So this shows the high fiscal deficit. And if we put the same thing into the numbers, then guys, the fiscal year of 21 will be seeing the 9.5% of the fiscal deficit. For the upcoming year, the fiscal deficit has been expected to be 6.8%, and government says that they will bring the fiscal deficit to 4.5% by financial year 26. Now, guys, further, you might be knowing that government cannot do as much fiscal deficit as they want. They are limited by the FRBM Act of 2003. Now, guys, recently this FRBM Act was amended after the NK Singh committee was constituted. And as per the new fiscal roadmap that was taken by the government, we were expected to commit the maximum fiscal deficit of 3.5%. Now, guys, government is saying that again under the changed scenario, this FRPM Act of 2003 will be again amended to accommodate all the suitable changes. Now, guys, further, when we are talking, then this particular year's fiscal deficit has been abnormally high. Apart from being that there was the health expenditure and less recoveries, there were one more reason, that is, government had made the 1 lakh one-time payment of 2 lakh crore rupees to the Food Corporation of India. Now, you might be knowing that the FCI is procuring the food, and for that particular thing, guys, over the last few years, FCI was taking the loan from the National Small Saving Fund, and the money was pending onto that particular fund. So now the 2 lakh crore rupees has been paid to the FCI so that FCI can settle back this particular loan. Now, government has said that this particular recovery government will be making by going for a new fiscal consolidation roadmap, and this fiscal consolidation will be done by increasing the tax buoyancy. They will be trying to improve the compliances. Then, guys, monetization will be done of the assets. The assets will be sold. It includes the public sector enterprises, the land. Moreover, guys, even the contingency fund of India, it will also be enhanced. Right now, 500 crore rupees are there into the contingency fund of India, and it will be enhanced to 30,000 crore rupees, so that we are better suited to deal with such pandemic like situations. Now, guys, again further analyzing the state of finances, we can see that government will be receiving 15 paisa out of one every 1 rupee from the GST. So we can see that the non-direct tax GST revenue is an important source. Then there is 13 paisa that government will be receiving by the corporation tax. Corporation tax is a kind of a direct tax. 14 paisa will be received by the income tax. It is also kind of a direct tax. Then there is the custom duties and all like this. Guys, you don't need to actually remember all of them. However, just keep in mind that this particular year, income tax will be more than the corporation tax, GST will be more than the income tax, and such kind of things. Then, guys, the expenditure of the government, it will be making the maximum expenditure for the interest payment. Now, you just remember, guys, that every year we are doing the borrowing. So, last year's borrowing and before that year's borrowings, we need to pay interest payment. So, that money is going on. After that, guys, government also needs to give money to the state government also, because, guys, you know that the state government has subsumed many of their taxes into the GST. So into that particular lieu, the state governments have to be given their share of taxes and duties. Then, guys, the finance commission also recommends some transfers that have to be made to the different states and for different specific kind of things. So this is that particular expenditure. Now, guys, as we are talking about the finance commission, the 15th finance commission had released their report earlier. Now, guys, this particular report is also have been made public. So, guys, tomorrow we will be taking up the 15th finance commission report also. Now, guys, let's further analyze the state of the important finance with respect to our examination. Now, guys, when we are talking about the corporation tax, here we can see some of the important trends. Number one, the corporation tax, guys, needs to be sustainable because it promotes the ease of doing business. And as government is looking for better ease of doing business, we are reducing the corporation tax into the last few years. And, guys, here you can see that from 2003, the corporation tax was more than 35%. How it has came down in 2019. And today, when we are talking about the India's corporation tax is one of the lowest among the world. India is ranking here where the corporation tax is just 25.17, and you can see that even the US, South Africa, Germany, Japan, Brazil, they are having very high corporation taxes. Now, guys, this is good thing. But guys, there is one problem also that is coming. That is our corporation tax is skewed, and this particular thing defeats the principle of the progressive taxation. Now, the principle of progressive taxation means that the people or the company who are earning high, they need to pay the higher taxes, and the ones who are earning low, they need to pay the low taxes. Now, if you focus onto this particular graph, we can see that the companies whose profit is into the up till the range of the 500 crore rupees, they are paying this particular tax. But the moment you earn more than 500 crore rupees, your tax comes down, and it is the defeat of the progressive taxation principle. So this is one particular thing that government needs to correct. So guys, that is all into the aspect of the corporation tax. Now guys, further moving into the next dimension of the finances. Now, guys, further taking one more dimension, when we talk about the budget, it is not only a document with respect to the receipt and expenditure, rather, it is also a document which aims to bring more and more social justice by increasing more and more expenditure onto the social justice oriented schemes. But we can see that the spending pattern is such that many of the schemes, their budget either increase has been very much minimal or the decrease has taken place. Now, when we talk about the MG Narega, this has been a scheme which has been a kind of a life breather for the migrants who had returned back home. They relied on to the MG Narega. But guys, this particular year, the allocation has been decreased to just 2.1% of the GDP. Last year, it increased to 3.2%. Then, guys, with respect to the rural development, the proportion of fund has also come down from 6.3% to 5.6% of the GDP. A short, basically, reduction of 0.7 percentage points has been there. Then, on to the higher education, guys. Now, if we can see, this year, the new National Education Policy 2020 was announced, and as per that, the expenditure was to be increased. And into this direction, just 0.1 percentage point increase has been there from 1% to 1.1%. And let's guys, into the school education also, the budget increase has been very much minimal, 1.5 to 1.6%. And now the question comes that how the principles of the NEP will be fulfilled if such less spending will be there onto the education. After that, onto the social welfare also, a very minimal increase, that is from 1.2% to 1.4% has been there. Now, guys, as we are talking about the present times, we are into the pandemic of COVID-19, and world over, the governments are giving the fiscal stimulus, and enhanced fiscal stimulus had even been given by the Joe Biden, who is the new president elect. And into that particular dimension, guys, India's approach onto the social sector has been not a very good one. So that is, and now guys, go moving to the next dimension. Now, guys, taking up the highlights with respect to the railways, you might be knowing that railways is one of the largest enterprise, not only into the India but also into the world also. Now, guys, earlier we were having a separate budget for the railways, which was being laid out since 1924 onto the recommendations of the Eckworth Committee. However, after 2016, the railway budget and general budget, they got merged, and only one budget is being rolled out since then. Now, guys, when we talk about the railways, there are certain things which I need to tell you. See, the railway is one of the enterprise which is always overbooked. It is a kind of a monopoly, but still, it is either into the losses or it is revenues are very much marginal. Guys, when we talk about railways, the internal earnings of the railway has always been very much less. Here you can see that since the financial year 2016, the internal revenue has even gone very much down. And when the internal revenue will not be there, then the railway can depend on two of the sources. Either it needs to take the gross budgetary support, that is government need to infuse money, or it will be dependent on to the extra budgetary support, that is they will be taking up the money from the LIC, National Small Savings Scheme, as the FCI we have discussed earlier, it has taken. So such kind of things were being done. Now, guys, over the last few years, the railway has been resorting more and more money from the external budgetary sources. And now, guys, the government has decided that 1.1 lakh crore rupees will be given to the railways for their next coming years, and additional 2.5 lakh crore rupees were also be given for the capital expenditure, so that the railways can invest adequately into some of the ambitious projects that are going on. And into this particular capacity, guys, here you can see that the 300-kilometer worth of new lines will be constructed. Then into the same capacity, guys, we can see that government is more focusing onto the dedicated freight corridor also. And into the same direction, the western dedicated freight corridor as well as the eastern dedicated freight corridor will be completed by the 2022. Now, this particular thing will be helping in bringing the logistic cost down into India. Internal traffic movement onto the national highways will be reduced, and it will be helping on large number of fronts. Then, guys, it has been provided that the broad gauge routes will be electrified 100% by the 2023. And further, into the long term strategy also has been provided by the budget, where it has been said that the National Rail Plan for India 2030 is being created, which can make the Indian Railways future ready. After that, guys, when we talk about the railways, the Indian railways has also been plagued with large number of accidents and all such kind of things. So for that, an indigenously developed automatic train protection system has been developed, which will be used into the trains. It will eliminate the train collision, and the human error will also be avoided. So such kind of the major highlights that has came. And now, guys, we will be moving to the next dimension. Now, guys, talking about the health sector into this particular budget. So, number one, the government had said that they had increased the allocation onto the health by 137% into the upcoming year. But, guys, when the government is talking about the health allocation, it is including the allocation for the three things. Number one, for the water and sanitation, nutrition, as well as for the health. But, guys, these are two things, that is the water, sanitation, and nutrition, they are seen by the separate ministries. So, only if we consider the health outlay. So, guys, this has actually gone down in the present year when we compared with the last year, and 9.5% less outlay has been given. And after this, guys, a good thing that is coming is the announcement of a new scheme, that is the Pradhan Mantri Atmanirbhar Swasth Bharat Yojana. So it is a centrally sponsored scheme. It means that some of the money will be given by the center, some of the money will be given by the state. Now, guys, it is a 6-year plan of the government, where government will be spending approximately 64,000 crore rupees in order to enhance the healthcare at the rural as well as urban level. So, guys, into the rural as well as urban areas, the wellness centers will be opened up. After that, there will also be the establishment of the integrated public health labs in all the districts. Now, this particular thing becomes very much important, because into the aftermath of pandemic, it was seen that overnight the testing capabilities was to be enhanced and the capacities were not there. So, in order to deal with this particular aspect, the labs will be established. After that, guys, the critical care hospital blocks will also be established in most of the districts. And into the same direction, guys, there will be the One Health, which is also being emphasized. Now, the idea of One Health means that the health of the ecosystem, the health of the animal, as well as the health of the man is linked with each other. If one particular system will be healthy, then the other systems will be healthy. Now, guys, the COVID-19 was a zoonotic disease, and into this particular direction, the One Health becomes very much important. And, guys, in order to meet with the future pandemics, the 9 biosafety level 3 labs will also be established. Now, guys, into the budget, a specific fund has also been allocated for the vaccination. 35,000 crore rupees has been put forward for the vaccination drive. But it has been seen that the 35,000 crore rupees will not be sufficient, because, guys, even if the lowest cost of the drug is being taken up, then also all the people cannot be vaccinated. And even it has been seen that into the coming years, the vaccine manufacturers have said that they might be increasing the prices also. So that particular thing has also not been considered. So, guys, that is all the major things into this aspect. And now we will be moving to the next aspect. Now, guys, talking about the agriculture sector. So, into the agriculture, government has increased the allocations because of the concern that is going on because of the farmer protest. So, last year, 4.21% allocation was given, and it has been increased to 4.25%. And, guys, into the absolute terms, now the budget expenditure will be this much. Now, you don't need to go into such kind of numbers. Now, guys, when we are talking about the budget expenditure, much of the weight is because of the PM Kisan. Now, PM Kisan is a scheme where the farmers are being given an entitlement of 6,000 rupees every year. Now, guys, into the budget, into this particular budget, further it has been provided that the Swamitwa scheme is being extended to cover all the states and UTs. Now, the Swamitwa scheme is a kind of a technology assisted mission of the government of India, where government is using drones, GPS mapping, and all such kind of things in order to track the land parcels, and the land deeds are also being provided to the rightful owners. Now, guys, when we talk about the litigations into the judiciary, civil litigations are the maximum, and into to these civil litigations, the land disputes are the larger chunk. So these land disputes will be resolved by this Swamitwa scheme. Then guys, there is Operation Green scheme, which has been extended to the 22 perishable products. Now guys, originally the Operation Greens was introduced for the three crops, that is the tomato, onion and the potato. The prices were fixed for this particular thing so that the farmers are not being given the low price discovery. Further, the marketing of these three crops was also assisted by the government. Now the 22 perishable products has been brought under the Operation Green. Further guys, the agricultural credit target has also been enhanced so that the farmers can get the institutional credit. Then guys, even the government had said that 1000 more mandis will be integrated with the electronic national agricultural market, and further the money is being given to the APMCs so that they can enhance their infrastructure. And for that particular thing, there is agricultural infrastructure fund which will be giving the money. Now guys, this particular thing is being done in order to satiate the farmers which are protesting. They are saying that the APMC mandis will be demolished, and by this particular new announcement, government is indicating that rather they are helping to consolidate the mandi and not to destroy them. Further guys, there is also the micro irrigation fund which has been doubled. Now micro irrigation fund helps the farmers in order to install the drip irrigators, sprinklers into their field, so that a, the productivity of the crop can be increased, b, the water wastage can be minimized, and c, the sustainable agriculture can be practiced. So guys, that is all about the agriculture, and now we will be moving to the next aspect. Now, guys, talking about the human resource development and innovation. Number one, guys, it has been provided by the government that the new education policy will be started to be implemented. It has been said that in more than 15,000 of the schools, the NEPs, all components will be started up. After that, guys, there is also a proposal that for the regularization of the higher educationals, there will be the Higher Education Commission of India, which will be established. And guys, it will be taking up the multiple educational institutions which were there. And in order to enhance the spirit of the innovation, then guys, a specific National Research Foundation is being established, which will be given a corpus of 50,000 crore rupees, and it will be having a mission of 5 years to enhance the research and innovation regime in all the institutions, whether they are the science institution, technology institution, or even into the humanity. And this recommendation of the NRF is also going in sync with the new education policy 2020, which specifically provided that now government needs to increase the investment into the research and development. Now, guys, if you see, a kind of a cross-disciplinary approach has been used. Now, the reason is this, that our research was very much disconnected, and this particular problem will be improved by bringing all the education research into one institution, that is the NRF. Further guys, here it has also been talked about that now, as 2021 is going to be there, so the first unmanned launch under the Gaganyaan is going to happen, and into that particular capacity, guys, government is taking up the steps. And even for the Gaganyaan manned mission, the 4 Indian astronauts are also being trained up into the Russia, and for that particular thing also, the government is coordinating all the support that is needed to them. Then the government is also had decided to launch a deep ocean mission, which will be having two main motives. Number one, to study the resources as well as minerals which are lying at the seabed, and number two, to study that how effective conservation of the ocean biodiversity can be carried. And then guys, there will also be the New Space India Limited, that will be a PSU, and it will be under the Department of the Space, and it will be launching the PSLV vehicles which will carry the Amazonia satellite from the Brazil, as well as some Indian satellites. Guys, please keep in mind that the Amazonia satellite, it belongs to the Brazil. And then guys, finally, it has also been decided that a central university which also be coming up into the Ladakh in order to provide the better opportunities to the people from the Ladakh. Now, this was a promise which was being made from last 2 years, and finally, the step is going to be taken into this direction. Now, guys, when we see, it has been said that actual allocation for the education has very much partly increased, and the effect of the COVID-19 has not been taken up. No, guys, but there is a one reason that has been given into this particular direction. Government had said that now, as we are establishing the NRF, that is the National Research Foundation, and much of the money will be going from the NRF. So basically, the allocation for the Ministry of Human Resource and Development has been reduced. And guys, it has also been provided that earlier, whatever the money MHRD was giving, it was only can be given to the central universities. But under the NRF, now the money by the state universities as well as by the private institutions can also be taken up. So NRF is actually a kind of a good thing which has come. Moreover, guys, one more small trivia also. Now the name of the MHRD has been changed to the Ministry of Education, and this particular thing was suggested by the new education policy of 2020. But still, guys, many a times MHRD is also used, not a big problem. And now, guys, here just one more aspect here with respect to the human resource we can see that is the skilling. Now, with respect to enhance the skill, government has decided to amend the Apprenticeship Act, and under this Apprenticeship Act, now the industries they will be given much more incentive so that they can call the youth and can train them into a specific skills. And already, guys, into this particular direction, government has also came out with the National Apprenticeship Training Scheme, which was given an outlay of the 3,000 crore rupees. And now, basically, this money will be used to support the industries when they will be hiring the apprentices. And it is now being basically suggested that after the education, the more and more apprenticeship trainings should be carried, particularly for the graduates as well as for the diploma holders into the engineering. And there is one more highlight also, that is a kind of an internationalization with respect to the skill has also been introduced. Guys, an initiative is also being signed with the UAE so that they can provide the benchmark skill qualifications, assessment, and the certifications for the workforce. Guys, today we are looking to export the workforce to many of the countries, and there the West Asia happens to be a very important destination. So we can export the workforce there if the UAE collaborates with it. Moreover, guys, for the training, a kind of a collaborative training inter-training program is also being signed between the India and Japan, and Japan will be helping to transfer the industrial and vocational skills that can be used by the Indian labor. Moreover, guys, recently, if you are following the newspaper analysis, we have seen that India has also signed the manpower supply pact with the Japan, where not only the Japan will give the skill capabilities, rather will also be hiring Indian laborers. So this is a kind of an internationalization which is coming up. Guys, that is all, and now we will be moving to the next aspect. After that, guys, onto the financial regime, there is a proposal that a single sector market code will be established, and this particular code will consolidate the SEBI Act of 1992, Depositories Act of 1996, Securities Contract Act, as well as the Government Securities Act. And guys, after that, this particular code will be simplified in order to provide a kind of an ease to the investors into the stock market of India. Now, this particular thing is needed right now, guys, because if you see into the world over, the different countries are announcing the fiscal stimulus, and that excess money is now being flushed into the emerging economies such as India and China. And therefore, if there is a kind of a comprehensive single market code, the investors will be finding it more easy to invest. Then, guys, further, there is also a proposal that a permanent institutional framework will be established which will purchase the investment grade debt securities into the normal times as well as into the stress, so that India's bond market can be developed. Moreover, guys, there will also be an establishment of an investor charter for the investor protection. Now, investor charter is a kind of a document which entails that what are the rights, what are the liabilities, what are the expectations that an investor can have from the securities or the financial market. And finally, guys, there is also one more proposal to develop a world class fintech hub at the GIFT, which stands for the Gujarat International Financial City. Now, guys, this GIFT City, it is a kind of a greenfield project which is being developed onto the lines of the Shanghai city of the China, which is a specialized financial sector. And guys, not only into the China, but even if you take the example of the UAE, the example of the Singapore, such kind of concepts are thriving. And India is also trying to leverage such kind of things. So, guys, that is into this particular direction, and now we will be moving to the next dimension. Now, guys, here we can see with respect to the disinvestment, the government of India has taken a very ambitious target. It has expected that 1,75,000 crore rupees will be raised via the disinvestment, and this disinvestment will be done into the large variety of public sector units. It will include the financial institutions, the PSU banks, general insurance company, that is the LIC, as well as into the various other sectors. Now, guys, government had said that there are four strategic sector in which government will keep the bare minimum presence, and the other sectors they will completely either be merged or they will be privatized. Now guys, which are the four strategic sectors? We'll see this thing. So they are: number one, the atomic energy, then there is a space and defense, after that there is the transportation and telecommunication, then there is the power, petroleum, coal, and other, and guys finally there is the banking, insurance, and financial services. These are the strategic sector, and apart from them all the caps they will be privatized or will be the merged. Then guys, after this particular thing, there is an entire list which will be prepared by the Niti Aayog, that where the strategic disinvestment is to be carried. And then guys, into the past few months we have seen that the government is focusing about the land monetization, and into this land monetization there will be a special purpose vehicle which will be established, and this special purpose vehicle is a kind of a company which will identify the government's idle land which can be sold off and can be monetized. And finally guys, government is becoming more concerned in order to ensure the timely closure of the sick or the loss making enterprises. Guys, or earlier, if you know, there is the insolvency and bankruptcy code which is already working into this particular direction, but still the regime is needed to be streamlined. And guys, even the insolvency and bankruptcy code has been kept under a stay for a specific period of time due to the pandemic of COVID-19 which was going on. And now the government is deciding again to bring a kind of a renewed and a better structure for the timely closure. So guys, that is all with respect to the disinvestment and strategic sales. And now we will be moving to the next dimension. Now, guys, after that, specifically onto the textile, government is deciding to come out with the Mitra. It stands for the Mega Investment Textile Park. Now, often it has been said that the cluster approach government has focused into the cluster approach. Government identify the different sectors which have the different type of potentials, and there the textile happens to be a very big component. So, different areas will be identified, and these areas will be converted into the mega textile parks. Guys, it will help in making the textile industry more globally competitive, and guys, we can actually compete with the emerging countries such as the Bangladesh, Vietnam, particularly into the textile. Guys, even the economic survey couple of years back had talked about that India needs to invest into the low end manufacturing, and into the low end manufacturing the textile and apparel happens to be a very important component. Moreover guys, large investment can be attracted in India, and it can also boost the employment. Now particularly guys, when we talk about the textile and apparel, the women are one particular sections which are highly involved there. And moreover guys, into the textile much of the cost is there in order in the terms of the wages, so therefore large and large number people can be employed. It is a labor intensive type of industry. Now government is working that they will provide the plug and play infrastructure. The plug and play infrastructure is that government already will establish the factory, the people can directly come and can start manufacturing their textiles. So the seven textile parks will be established over the 3 period time under the Mitra scheme. Please guys quote it into your answers. So that is, and now we will be moving to the next dimension. Then guys, here we can see that the government is also working onto the ease of living, and into the ease of living, accessibility of the clean water and sanitation happens to be an important component, and therefore government has decided to ensure the universal coverage of the water supply. And in this direction, the Jal Jeevan Mission Urban is being launched, and the aim of this particular mission is to achieve the water availability to all the urban areas into the next 5 years, and a specific outlay of more than 2,87,000 crore rupees has also been given. Then guys, the next comes with respect to the infrastructure. So guys, earlier in 2019 the prime minister announced the creation of the national infrastructure pipeline, which will be a project of more than 102 lakh crore rupees, and it will create large number of social and economic infrastructure throughout the country. Now guys, under this national infrastructure pipeline 7400 projects are being taken up. The scope has been considerably enhanced. Now guys, for that particular thing, a large number of money will be taken up from the government as well as the financial sector. Now guys, this particular approach is very much similar to what America was doing after the 1929 when the recession was there. Guys, India also had basically seen the technical recessions, and into this capacity the government tries to put more and more money into the economy so that the people can raise their aggregate demand when that particular money will be going into that their hand. So into this direction, what government is doing, government is taking up the national infrastructure pipeline. So guys, government has decided that the money will be raised. Number one, a kind of a developmental financial institution will be established, which will directly be helping the financing needs into such big ticket projects. After that, guys, there will be the monetization of assets which will be created. Now guys, into this particular direction, the national monetization pipeline is also being established. Guys, monetization of asset means the lying government of assets which government is not utilizing, they will be disposed of. Into this direction, guys, the National Highway Authority of India, railways, as well as the airports, they will be monetized. Then the capital budget will also be enhanced. Directly the money will be given from the budget for this particular project. And guys, if all the things as they are planned, if they go, the twin targets of achieving the high growth rate as well as creating a high quality infrastructure can be attained. So guys, this is all, and now we'll move into the next dimension. Now, guys, here we can see that into the aftermath of pandemic of COVID-19, the migrant people were very much harassed as they have to walk down large distances and their income has also been now went down. So for the migrant workers and laborers, government has taken up the specific steps. Now into this particular direction, guys, it has been decided that number one, the one nation, one ration card will be implemented as soon as possible. Into this particular direction, 32 states and union territories have also already been covered and the other remaining will be covered into the next few months. Further, guys, it has been provided that a kind of a new portal which will be established. It will collect the information onto the unorganized sector labor force as well as migrant worker people, and this particular information can be very much helpful in order to provide the benefits to them which are specifically designed for them. And guys, if there is some other kind of failure or the pandemic into the future happens, then also we can identify the people and can provide them the timely assistance. After that, guys, government had recently also passed the four labor codes which had consolidated more than 29 labor laws, and they are being implemented. According to government, all such kind of labor laws will be helping in order to provide more better work condition to the laborers. And then there is also a single registration and licensing system for the compliances that are to be paid by the employers. This particular thing will reduce the burden on them. And then, guys, a specific portal to collect data onto the gig workers, that is the workers who are being involved into the platforms such as the Uber, Ola, Swiggy, etc. For them also it is being established. After that, guys, onto the power infrastructure, government has taken up some of the steps. Now over the years, it has been said that government is trying to bring a kind of a gas based economy, and into that the hydrogen is a very important aspect which can drive the mobility among the vehicles and all such kind of things. So guys, government has decided to bring the comprehensive national hydrogen energy mission 2021-2022. It will identify that how the hydrogen from the green power sources can be developed. And then, guys, finally, the electricity distribution companies will also be provided much of the assistance so that they can provide the quality electricity distribution services to the people. And here we can see that the government has provided a specific allocation to the 42 urban centers in order to fight with the pollution and all such kind of things. And guys, a very good thing had come. Even earlier we have seen the scrapping policy. Into the scrapping policy, government has provided that after 20 years into the case of the personal vehicles, as 15 years into the case of commercial vehicles, the fitness test has to be taken up. And if the vehicles are found to be unfit or they are found to be excessively polluting, then voluntary they could be scrapped out. So this particular thing will also be helping in bringing down the pollution, because it has been seen that into the larger metropolitan cities a considerable part of pollution is due to the vehicular exhaust. So this particular step will be helping into that particular direction. Now guys, after this, moving to the next dimension. Now here we can see that government has also talked about bringing some reforms onto the direct tax. Now some of the major reforms are this, guys. Number one, it has been provided that the senior citizens, they are exempted from filing the income tax if only they are receiving the money via the pensions as well as from the interest income if they have kept some money into the saving scheme. Further, it has been provided that the number of filers have dramatically increased into the last couple of years. There were 3.31 crore people who were filing the income tax in 2014, and they have increased now to nearly 6.5 crore people. Further, guys, government has also decided to establish a national faceless income tax appellate tribunal center. Now the faceless appellate tribunal center is that, guys, many a times the people file their income tax returns, but there are some kind of discrepancy, and for that particular thing, again and again they are called for the screening. Now all this particular thing will be now happening into a faceless mechanism so that the harassment of the people doesn't happen. Further, guys, now the timeline for opening the old cases is being reduced. Earlier, the reassessment of a 6 years old returns can happen, and now it will be reduced to maximum of the 3 years. This particular thing will also be reducing the harassment of the taxpayers. So guys, these are the important aspects into this particular direction, and these are the most important things which had happened into the budget. After that, guys, also there are some other allocations, but they are too much technical and they just pertain to the monetary outlays, and nothing much important apart from that is there. Now guys, please integrate these particular notes into the relevant sections, and whenever you are writing the answers, please try to provide this particular dimension also. Now, guys, here is one more important article from the Hindu newspaper as well as from the other papers also. Here we can see that into the Myanmar, the army or the military had established a coup, and the democratically elected government led by the Aung San Suu Kyi has been removed, and various other members of the parliament has also been detained. Now, guys, recently elections had happened into the Myanmar, into which the National League for Democracy, who had registered a landslide victory, and nearly 83% of the people voted into the favor of the NLD. Now, the army believes that this particular election was fraud, and now for at least 1 year, the state of emergency has been announced into the Myanmar. Now, further, guys, when we analyze this particular situation, then see there are certain things which are coming with respect to the India. A, India can support the military coup, or B, India can support the Aung San Suu Kyi's government. Now, guys, if India will be supporting the democracy, then the military of the Myanmar will get irritated by the India's attitude, and the closeness with the China will increase. And if, guys, we will be not going into the direction of supporting the NLD, then India's credentials with respect to the support of the democracy will be going down. So basically, India is into a kind of a difficult situation, and over the coming period of days, we need to see that how Indian government actually responds. And now, guys, over the upcoming few days, there will be large number of editorials that has to be coming into this particular dimension. So guys, we will be taking up this further discussion into that particular light also, particularly with respect to the aspects that will be important for the India. So that is all, guys, about this particular article, and that is all for the today's newspaper analysis. Guys, I hope that you have understood the major attachments from the budget. So that is all. Thank you so much.